Here's James again, and so there's any noise in the background. I'm sitting in a very uncomfortable chair, so I'm putting pillows under and behind me. Alright, perfect. I I've grown to like combining One Piece and My Hero Academia since they're my two favorite anime and manga series. Just One Piece takes so long to read. Like I'm pretty sure in the manga I'm like barely getting to the Whole Cake Island arc. Yeah, I just like I'm nearing the end of Zoe in the manga, but I'm right when Kid finds out Killer was given a smile in the anime. So yeah, that scene's sad. It hurts my heart to see my boy Killer like that. Yeah, poor Yasu, him as well, and Toko. Yeah, well, One Piece has gained a lot more dark for a little bit. It's gonna get happier though when our boy Luffy becomes the king. Right, but I can't think of anything else except like One Piece and My Hero Academia since I just got done watching Lazy What Ifer, and then I watched Anime Outlet. So Anime Outlet did What If Deku used the three sword style. That was very cool to me, especially some parts of it. And Lazy What Ifer took a cool turn when it came to Deku being trained by Mihawk. So yeah. And this is going to be another combination like Mikado Curry What If. My Garp What If came out like 2-3 hours ago. Go watch that one. Go watch my Red Hood What If. My Red Hood one I'm very proud of. And I'm also proud of my Garo What If. My Garo, don't care. Yeah, I'm part of those three What Ifs. And it's gonna be What If Mihawk trained Deku. I heard the name of Mihawk's sword. I need to find that out real quick. Yeah, the name of Mihawk's sword is Yoru. So yeah. And in this one, I'm gonna take elements from the Lazy What Ifer when he had, Deku had to have a sister and All Might be his biological father. Something's gonna have some topics like that one. So in this one, I'm gonna go over Deku's family status. This one, Inko is his mother. All Might is his father. And this time All Might is born with the quirk and was given one for all. And All Might was born with the quirk to breathe fire. And Midoriya's brother. No, Midoriya's sister. I can't think of a name, but I can think of like the anime outlet's name for her, which was, I believe, Izumi. Izumi was born with the ability to breathe fire, and All Might can breathe fire as well. Midoriya is born quirkless. So Midoriya is the only one in this family without a quirk. Then we're going to go to Bakugo's family. Bakugo still has Mitsuki and Masaru, but Bakugo has a sister named Hanabi. So, yeah. Deku's diagnosed quirkless doesn't really affect him. He doesn't really care. Like, Midoriya always has a nonchalant attitude. Well, not really nonchalant, it's just he doesn't care about a thing, not even himself, not even his family. But he does have like a small hint of feeling for swordsmanship. He likes it. He thinks it's pretty cool. And in this one, he's not an All Might fanboy, because All Might looked down on Midoriya for not having a quirk, since All Might was born with a quirk, so he wasn't looked down on as a kid. And Midoriya is, which Izumi, Inko, and All Might all ignore. They don't really care. Like, hey, you're quirkless, defend yourself. Yeah, we have quirks to defend ourselves. So yeah. We're gonna go to moment to when Midoriya is 8. Midoriya is at dig up a beach, and as a hobby, he's kind of just cleaning it. And Midoriya's hobby isn't really cleaning the beach. It's more his hobby is getting away from his family. That's more of his hobby. And as Midoriya is kind of just getting away from his family, he's cleaning the beach, and he sees a sword in the water, but notices something different about it. He's leaving it like a slight, like, purplish aura. Midoriya should stop cleaning and actually swim after its sword. You know, Midoriya has like a tiny fishing boat that he uses sometimes. Midoriya's actually gonna kind of just like have it like grab the sword tilt. And it's very heavy, but Midoriya can at least use it to as like a paddle sometimes. But Midoriya can actually just he has a rope and tie the sword to the back of the boat and starts paddling to the following the remnants of the aura. Leads him to an island, and Mihawk is looking for his sword. And Midoriya paddled out for about 3 hours. So it's about it's about 3 p.m. now. Midoriya's gonna just use the rope and reel in the sword as he sees Mihawk looking for it. And he sees an elderly Mihawk who's probably around. Well, we've seen very old characters in One Piece. So I'm gonna say that Mihawk is actually around 190 years old, and is actually in very good condition for being old. He's like Boomy, just ripped, but he's not cuckoo, but he does have like slight memory loss. He forgot where he put his sword. Midoriya's gonna ask if are you the owner of this sword? As Midoriya was kind of barely be able to drag it up to the shore. Mihawk's gonna say, "Oh yes, I am." And so he'll bend over and pick up the sword, saying, "Good old Yoru, I always lose him." And Deku's surprised at how easily Mihawk can move the sword, saying, and Deku will say, "Oh, you're so old, but skilled." Mihawk says, "Oh, that's because I hold the title of the greatest swordsman in the world. Or I used to. Well, I guess I still do. My people died of old age a long time ago. He took the title from me, and I taught him how to take it from me." Deku's gonna say, "Oh, see." And that's when Mihawk will say, "Well, how far away did you paddle from?" Deku says, "From Japan, and from the main city of Japan, or from Tokyo, I'm gonna say." And I'm actually gonna use observation and just find where Midoriya exactly came from by following like a slight ripple pattern, saying, "Oh, I see, Dagobah Beach." And Midoriya's like, "Whoa, you can do that?" And Mihawk's very well aware people developed quirks. He says, and Mihawk will lie to Midoriya, saying, "My quirk allows me to see very far," as he sees Mihawk's eyes are like a hawk's eyes. And Midoriya says, "Is your quirk called Hawk or something?" And Mihawk will say, "More like Hawkeye. That's why I became a good swordsman." And so he'll slash the air. And then Midoriya sees the air actually just form a purple slash as it just cuts the water, cuts a good portion of the water. And Mihawk will say, "All right, well, I guess you better get going, for your family is worried about you." And Midoriya's gonna say, "My family wouldn't care about me." And Mihawk says, "Nonsense. Deep down, everyone cares for someone." Midoriya's gonna say, "Deep down, I don't care for anyone." He'll get back on his boat because Mihawk did ask him to leave politely, so Midoriya will obey. Midoriya gets back home, but before he opens the door, he hears Izumi actually have an excited tone. So he puts his ear in the door, wonder what's happening. Then he hears, "I might offer Izumi one for all." But then he offers to teach her how to use one for all and master her fire breathing. And that's when Midoriya's heart just dropped, saying, "She's already powerful of her own accord. But you don't even bother helping me." As Midoriya just gives a burst of strength and kicks down a steel door. And All Might is shocked, thinks someone's breaking in, but then he just sees Midoriya with his foot. He sees, oh, Midoriya. So that's quite some power. And Midoriya says, "Shut the hell up." And All Might's like, "Excuse me, you not talk to me that way." And All Might's not his buff form. Midoriya knows about All Might's injury. Walk by All Might, then just jab him in the side. And he just walks to his room. And All Might's just on the ground, just oh god. And Izumi tries to stop Midoriya. And Midoriya without realizing it, he actually kind of copied the way Mihawk used the sword. So Midoriya actually can grab a fire poker and jab it at Izumi's eye, but just barely avoid hitting it. And they're like, "Whoa, that's almost a mastery type skill." Then Izumi will try to breathe fire. Midoriya can spin around, just whack Izumi in the head with the back end of it. It almost knocks her out. And Inko's gonna say, Midoriya, what are you doing? He just throws a fire poker, almost hitting Inko, then it just sticks to the wall. So I'm packing my stuff and leaving. And Midoriya actually grabs a backpack, and then Inko's like, you won't survive long without food and water. And Midoriya says, I'm well aware, as he'll take everything from the fridge and put it in his backpack. And Inko's like, wait, what? And there's like, let's say they have like a giant water bottle in the fridge. Midoriya will take it and put it in his backpack, and then just leave the apartment. And Inko's like, wait, that's our food for the month. And Midoriya just, like, using a burst of adrenaline that he still has, just ran off. And All Might is in pain because of the way Midoriya jabbed him with an adrenaline rush, so All Might can't buff up and chase after him because he's in pain right now. And Izumi says, he hit me. And Midoriya is actually going to paddle back to Mihawk's Island. And it took him 3 hours to paddle back, so it's about 6. Midoriya's going to get to Mihawk's Island again at 9. And by the time Midoriya gets there, Mihawk is actually just on the beach, because he can sense Midoriya's coming back, and just saw what Midoriya did. And he heard the conversation. Well, he didn't hear it, he more like saw it by using his observation, and then read their lips, just from their outline. And he heard what Midoriya said. And, like, Mihawk agreed. All Might's cruel. And when Midoriya got there, he saw Mihawk sitting in front of Yoru, like giving like a motion for Midoriya to come on the island. Midoriya says, "Mister, what are you doing up? I was kind of just gonna crash here." Mihawk says, "I used my quirk to spy on your apartment. Your father is indeed cruel. Though what you did to your sister was a little messed up." Midoriya says, "I did it in a burst of anger. I apologize." Mihawk says, "Even though it's not me you should be apologizing to, I will accept it." Then Mihawk will pick up Yoru and say, "Alright, but did you notice you copied my skill?" And, not like mastery, but like Midoriya was at least average without even using a sword before. And Midoriya says, kind of." Mihawk says, "What you did is called observation hockey. And I don't have a quirk. I'm quirkless as well, since I was around before quirks." And Mihawk will actually bring Midoriya inside his castle and give him like the whole explanation on who he is. And Midoriya is going to see Yoru, and like that's when he hears the full name, Black Blade Yoru. And Yoru was supposedly went missing hundreds of years ago. And Mihawk says, "I am the original owner of Yoru. I never intend to give her away." When some people went to my island while I was away fishing, I found Yoru was gone. Went back to a city, sneaking in and stealing her back. Midoriya says, "I see." And Mihawk will say, "How'd you like to stay here and study under my swordsmanship? Midoriya will say, "I will." Mihawk will say, "Thank you." And Mihawk will look at Midoriya's green hair and say, "You remind me of my old pupil, Roro Noah Zoro." Using the Slam Down the Wanted poster, Midoriya sees how old-fashioned the picture is. Luffy sees the bounty. Luffy had already become the Pirate King, but died. And Zoro's title says right-hand man of Pirate King, Pirate Hunter Zoro. Wanted dead or alive, bounty of 4.8 billion. He says, "Whoa, that's a lot of money." But he did say Zoro's dead. He says, "Indeed, he did not learn the secret of life like me." He says, "What is that secret?" He says, "Oh, I'm just a lot healthier than an average human." And for the next, I believe it would be 7 years since Midoriya is 8 right now. Midoriya's been on the island just training. And if you guys remember the baboons on Mihawk's Island, one of them mastered Mihawk's sword style, just didn't make his sword a black blade. So Zoro was actually able to beat him, beat Mihawk, but he was able to beat the baboon that mastered Mihawk's sword style. That's only because, I believe it was only because the baboon did not have a black blade. But it did have a sword mimicking Mihawk. Like, yeah, the exact same sword as Mihawk, it just wasn't black. And Mihawk actually honored that baboon by giving it a grave. And Mihawk buried Perona, he buried Zoro. Like Mihawk and Rayleigh, no, not Mihawk. Mihawk buried the whole Strat crew on his island. No, he only buried Perona and Zoro on his island. He buried the Strats in their respective blues. So yeah. And he actually gave Zoro, no he did not Zoro, he gave Midoriya, the baboon's blade. Then he gave him Queen's blade. I forgot the name Queen's blade. So Mihawk will give Zoro, not Zoro, he's gonna give Deku, what was it? He's gonna give Deku a more like a false version of Yoru. Then he's gonna give him Wado, saying, "I want you to train with both and master both." And Deku will. He's gonna master 1, 2, and 3 sword style. He's gonna master Yoru as well. And for about 7 years, Midoriya is trained with Mihawk. Mihawk is still able to go blow for blow with Deku, but he just has memory loss, and that's the only flaw about him. And that he's old, but yeah, that's it. But Deku actually learned Conqueror's observation and armament to a master degree, so he can use the invisible barrier. No, he can only use black hockey. No, Deku can use invisible hockey and armament. And he can use invisible hockey, and observation and Conquerors. That's it. And he's only using invisible hockey because people can't build their bodies the way they used to. And because of All Might's buff form, I'm gonna say that was actually no, I'm not gonna say, because All Might didn't get injured before Midoriya was born. All Might's buff form actually did get passed on to Midoriya, so Midoriya is naturally buff, but that was actually getting in the way of Midoriya unlocking a black and other form of hockey. So Midoriya can only use invisible hockey. I mean, Midoriya's okay with it. He's content with it. So yeah. On the 7th year, Mihawk actually dies because I'm gonna say he's training with Midoriya, and by the time he's done, Mihawk's sweating and his heart rate is accelerating. Eventually, Mihawk's heart stops and he has a heart attack. Midoriya will actually bury Mihawk. And Midoriya ended up turning the baboon's sword into a black blade, but Midoriya wants to take Mihawk's sword in his honor. So he's gonna stick the baboon sword in his grave, and he's gonna stick Wado in Zoro's grave, saying, "I will only need Yoru for my adventure." This will go back. Midoriya wears the same getup as Mihawk, just minus the hat and the cross on Mihawk's chest. Midoriya will get back to land, and people do see Midoriya just with a giant sword. And Midoriya gets back to land with his hair just being super shaggy. And he already sees that. I'm gonna say this probably about 5 months before the entrance exam starts, and he sees Izumi cleaning the beach, and they see that he sees Skinny, All Might, and Izumi cleaning. They see Midoriya coming. They don't tell us Midoriya, but Midoriya can use observation to see it's them. And Midoriya has like a Hawkeye in one eye, and it's red. And that's when he actually he has a demon eye, kind of like Zoro. And Mihawk told Luffy. Mihawk told Deku all of Zoro's moves. So Deku can perfectly copy Zoro's moves, except he can use them with one sword. Deku can use the 100-pound Phoenix, 36-pound Phoenix. He can use all of that. And Purgatory Onigiri, which is my favorite move Zoro has. It is awesome. So yeah. Deku gets ashore, and his hair is in his face, but his one Hawkeye is exposed. And All Might will ask him who he is and to leave. Hold up, I need to do one. Okay, one thing. All Might's 7'6", and the only character I can imagine with green hair in One Piece that's at All Might's height is Bartolomeo, who's also 7'6". So Midoriya just All Might's buffed up, he buffed up to intimidate Midoriya. But he sees Midoriya staring eye to eye with him. And Midoriya's Bartolomeo's height just because he has green hair and he's in One Piece. And All Might sees the Hawkeye. But then he feels this presence from Midoriya. Familiar. And Izumi right now is 5 feet tall. Like she's 5'7", and she can just feel the presence as well. Like it is intimidating and familiar. Midoriya says, oh, my own father doesn't even recognize me. I still just like try to just lift up All Might and throw him aside, shocking Izumi. And then she remembers father. So yell, Midoriya! This Midoriya will freeze in his tracks, saying, I don't go by Midoriya anymore. My first name does stay, but my last name does not. And she says, so you're still Izuku? Midoriya, well, Izuku will say, yes. But I go by Izuku Mihawk. And that's to honor Mihawk, the man who basically raised him better than his own parents. And All Might says, there's no way. My son doesn't have a Hawkeye. Midoriya says, this eye I unlocked through hard and devastating training. Izumi says, this training's been harder than yours, I guarantee it. Midoriya will say, want to see what my training had given me? This will take out Yoru and just slash the air, not even touching a piece of trash. She's like, what's that supposed to do? As all the trash just gets cut into tiny pieces. And she's amazed. It was like, you unlocked your quirk. Midoriya says, nope, still haven't. Just mastered swordsmanship. And so just walk away from Dagobah Beach. And some guy was recording Midoriya throw All Might. He just didn't hear what they were saying. So yeah. And Midoriya actually just walking into the woods and like kind of build a makeshift house. And he was trained by Mihawk, and Midoriya is already smart, so he can actually build a pretty good one. And I'm gonna say Izumi followed Midoriya and actually just saw him use conquerors and knock out animals. Like she didn't see the aura; she just saw him just like look at animals and they pass out. That's Midoriya's source of food. So yeah. And the next 5 months, Midoriya does not train; he just reads. And then like I'm saying, Midoriya's skill actually was able to get him in on recommendation. And Midoriya actually volunteered to take the exam so they can see what they're dealing with. And they're okay with this since like they saw the video of Midoriya slash up all the trash. But he wanted to show them what he can do against like moving things. They're okay with this, and Izumi just recognized that gigantic sword in the gigantic person. He ends up saying, "Oh, Izuku," and like Bakugo says, "Wait, Izuku." And he runs up to see who he's talking to, and he sees the Hawkeye. That's the only thing exposed on Midoriya's face. He says, "What are you talking about? That's not Izuku." And Midoriya has a one burn mark on his arm from Bakugo. Bakugo's always had like a slight crush on Izumi. And one time Midoriya tried to stand up to Izumi, but before he did in the house, Bakugo hit him for standing up to her with an explosion, and it burned Midoriya. We'll see the burn mark in the exact same place, the exact same pattern, just a little more stretched out. It says, "Oh God, you are." Izumi asks what's up with the eye, and Midoriya says, "Just shut up and leave me alone," as I walk away. And Izumi still can't help but think back to the night, to that one night. She says, "Midoriya, how did you survive?" Midoriya said, "I found a better home and someone better on that island to raise me." Then she hears someone better raised him. She says, "So what? Who else would want to raise a quirkless loser like you?" Midoriya said, "Someone who's also quirkless, but at the same time incredibly strong. I can already compare his strength. And if you were to meet him, you could already tell his presence would kill All Might without him even moving a finger." When they heard this, Midoriya's actually going to force out his conquerors, knocking out Bakugo. But this time you can see the aura emitting out of Midoriya's eye, like a lot of red, and you can see the light coming off it. Then, like a bright red aura will just flash around the whole area. It's like a demon is coming up from behind Midoriya as Bakugo will just pass out, like just from the conqueror's like aura. And Izumi says, "Oh God." Midoriya says, "The man that trained me can do that and doesn't even have this ability." Sorry about that noise if you hear it. Yeah. And Midoriya will walk in, and Ida is like wondering what the sword's for, and he'll ask Midoriya saying, "If your sword does not apply to your quirk, could you please put it away?" Midoriya says, "I'm sorry, I'm quirkless, and I'm very good. I'm a very good swordsman, but I also got it on recommendation. but they've only seen me do one thing. I want to show them what else I can do. And Ida said, I see. But does it apply to your quirk? Midoriya said, I'm quirkless. He is okay with this and just says, it says, okay. And people thought Midoriya's Conquerors was a quirk until he said he's quirkless. That was just his aura. Like, oh god, no. No, that's a monster if that's an aura. So, yeah. Pretty scary guy. Written them, Midoriya aces that by Midoriya's intelligent places above like Nezu level. And that shocks every hero, even Nezu. Nezu says, his intelligence is above mine. And they write down S and then an infinite symbol, like S and then an infinite symbol next to the S. Midoriya's strength is marked down as like a S plus, and that's it. Then when the exams start, like once the mic says 10, Midoriya just jumps over the gate and starts running. So Mike said, follow the kid, there's no countdowns in a real battle. And Ida says, oh yes, he's right. And so kick a hole through the gate and start running. So yeah, Midoriya's just like running through, slicing robots apart. Then you realize this: these robots aren't even tough enough to eat. Like these robots are tough enough for him to even punch through. And he starts actually just like picking up robots and just ripping them in half. And Aoyama will try to steal one of Midoriya's points. Midoriya's just trying to put his sword in front of the blast, and Aoyama says, "Because I'd move your blade before it gets shattered." Midoriya's gonna try to just like slash the air as it just like, cuts Aoyama's navel laser into pieces. And Aoyama's like, I used up my 1 second for that. Midoriya's just gonna use Conquerors and knock out a good percentage of the robots. So Midoriya in the end has around 100. So Midoriya actually knocked out enough robots to get 310 points. The amount of robots in the area is enough. Like if someone were to knock out every robot in Midoriya's arena, they'd have around 2,000 points. So Midoriya took down a lot of robots to just get 300. Midoriya actually just jumps to the highest building. Well, not jumps, he runs up the wall and just sits at the peak of it. Because he knows no one can catch up to him. And All Might's there watching what Midoriya does. Like, he saw the aura just, like, bounce off Midoriya. And then there was Zero Pointers coming, and so I step on Uraraka. Midoriya's just gonna pull his sword, and just in a flash of, like, in a blink of an eye, Midoriya's already behind the Zero Pointer, and then everyone's like, how do you get there so fast? Basically, like, dozens, like, hundreds of slash marks appear in the Zero Pointer, then it just explodes. And they see that Uraraka is already like in front of Midoriya. That's how fast he is. And they're like, Midoriya, get out of the way of the explosion. And then Midoriya's coated his body in like invisible ornament, so the explosion doesn't harm him. By the time the explosion is clear, Uraraka's not even harmed. Just like Midoriya has like a singe on his hair. Like that's all that came of him. And like a piece of the Zero Pointer about to fall, Midoriya's gonna straight up just punch it into the sky. You know, he says, that level of strength. Impressive. And everyone in, like, few arenas overheard the explosion, so Izumi, like, and Baku would use that quirk to, like, get a good view. Last thing they see is Midoriya holding Uraraka behind him with his sword in hand, as the Zero Pointer explodes. And they said, no way he could have done that. That's what they're thinking. Almost my phone at 7. Oops. Charger to the rescue. Yeah. When Midoriya leaves, Bakugo says, so Deku, what was that? How did the robot get destroyed? Listen, I will appear saying, Midoriya, that was a very good display of power. Midoriya just when he hears it, well, not Midoriya, Izuku when he hears that, I called him Midoriya. Midoriya's first response is just to deck All Might in the jaw, so him flying into the wall of UA, saying, I abandoned my name a long time ago, so watch it. And everyone's like, did he just hit All Might like that? And All Might can already tell. If Midoriya hits him again, that's probably gonna decrease his time limits by probably more than half. And All Might says, I apologize. All Might will get up steadily as his jaw is like as his nose is like bleeding heavily, and so is his mouth. Recovery Girl saw Midori just deck All Might. She says, All Might, you truly meet your match. I'm not gonna tell. That boy would kill All For One in an instant. And she's not wrong. Midori can slice All For One into pieces easily. And Bakugo says, hey, watch what you do to All Might. Midori says, I'd watch who you're speaking to. And Hanabi will appear as she saw what Midori did to All Might. Then she got there late, but she doesn't know what Midori did. Bakugo says, yeah, what are you going to do if I don't watch who I'm talking to? Midori says, then I'll knock you out again. This is I'll light up red again. Bakugo will remember. Midori I lit up red, then he passed out. He says, so that was you? Midori said, I'm the living embodiment of a demon and a swordsman. I'd watch who you speak to, as he draws the Yoru on Bakugo. And Habi tries to push the sword out of the way, but she can't even budge it. She'll even use one throw, and she can't budge it. She's like, what is your sword made of? Midori said, metal. As well smack Hanabi with the back end of it. Put it away and say, I'm leaving. Only says, Midoriya, I can already tell, you got into UA. And with an impressive score of 300. And everyone's shocked when Midoriya has said he's quirkless in front of everyone. Bakugo says, no way, that guy's quirkless. Only says, yes, he is. But the display he put on for the 0-pointer is horrifying to see. And then Hanabi says, how much points did we get, Dad? And All Might has let it be known that Hanabi's his child, but he let it be known when he lived with Inko, Midoriya, and Izumi. I say Hanabi, I meant Izumi. Hanabi's Bakugo's sister. And then All Might will say, sorry, sweetie, but you only got a score of 120. Bakugo, you got a score of 90. And they're surprised that their scores are so much lower than Midoriya's. Bakugo says, he must have cheated somehow. How? How did he cheat? And All Might says, he didn't cheat. Actually, he got in on recommendation, but suggested he do this first. They hear he got indirected to UA on recommendation, and they're shocked. Like, Izumi just packs up her stuff and just leaves. And Only says, Izumi, do you know where Midori is staying? You might be able to offer him a place. And Izumi says, I can already tell he doesn't like us at all. But she does say he knows where he's staying. And they're going to go to the woods. See, the shack is actually fully painted. And there's a no trespassing sign. They'll deliberately disobey with Bakugo and Hanabi following suit. And they see Midori just like out on the porch, underage, drinking. And he picked up the habit of drinking wine from Mihawk. And he's just doing that while he's reading a book. And this book is actually Mihawk's adventures that Zoro soon took over and wrote about his crew. And Midori has a grin on his face the whole time, saying, I miss you, master. He'll put on his drink as he sees like the spiky yellow hair. So, Bakugo and Hanabi know Izumi and All Might's secret, so they don't really care that All Might's in his small Might form. And Midori will see them saying, what are you doing on my property? And All Might says, I'm your father. I should be able to go wherever I want. And All Might says, wait, that nerd's your father? Izumi says, yeah, he's my twin brother. And Midoriya will just get angry and just throw a knife towards Izumi's head. She barely dodges it. And Midoriya says, well, Izuku will say, I've abandoned the Midori family name, so don't ever lump me in with you. And All Might says, wait, you're serious about that? Midoriya will jump down, making a crater where he landed, saying, ever since I was a part of your family, before I ran away, all I've been treated as was just some weak little kid that needed protection. I didn't need it. But whenever I tried to stand up for myself, I didn't. I'm the one that got in trouble, not the person I need to stand up to. So hold his hand out, saying, I tried to stand up to Izumi for once. And Bakugo hurt me for standing up to her. And Bakugo said, that's what you get. You shouldn't stand up to the stronger. Midoriya will grab Bakugo by the neck, and he tries to blow up Midoriya's arm. It's not phasing Midoriya. Midoriya will just throw Bakugo in the air. When Bakugo gets within at least an inch of Midoriya's fist, Midoriya just punches Bakugo as far as he can. And Bakugo barely catches himself. He's on the ground. He caused one explosion, then just fell. I was like, oh god. And he throws up, regular vomit and then blood. And he didn't actually punch Bakugo as hard as he can. He just punched Bakugo using Haki. And they see Bakugo's throwing up blood now. They're like, what'd you do? And he said, I just punched him. Why? And walk back inside. And All Might tries to stop him by using Buff Might, but before All Might can even touch the door, Midoriya put All Might in an arm lock, saying, I wouldn't do that. As he's holding All Might's arm like a breaking position. And All Might just says, fine, we'll leave. All Might just picked up Bakugo, as Bakugo just stopped throwing up. He's perfectly fine now. Well, not perfectly, but he's still hurt. And Hanabi's like, what happened to you? She doesn't say that out loud, she just thinks it. And Midoriya just slams the door. So yeah, Midoriya goes back to drinking wine, on his porch and reading the diary. 2 weeks pass and Midoriya goes to UA. And he's allowed to bring Yoru to school since he confirmed that his strength and speed are just him training. And that his aura isn't anything, it's just he learned how to use it through a certain kind of martial art. And Yoe believes this, knowing that there's some kinds of martial arts that are very mystic and ancient. So, yeah. Rory's in class and everyone's just watching him. And actually run up to him saying, hey, you're the guy that got 300 points, and you're quirkless, how'd you do that? Rory said, I didn't have to take the exam. I got in on recommendation. I just insisted I take the regular exam like a normal student. And Todoroki says, oh really? Interesting. Well, Momo says, it is indeed. What's your quirk? Since they don't believe he's quirkless but got in on recommendation. Midoriya said, like I said before, what Izuku said before. Like I said before, I'm quirkless. Well, I'm calling Midoriya for the sake of this. I'm just calling Deku. So Deku says, like I said before, I'm quirkless. And Todoroki and Momo says, I doubt that. Someone with your caliber shouldn't be able to get into UA. And Midoriya, Deku will say, hey, my swordsmanship is immense. That's the way I got in. Izumi will confirm, saying, he is on a different level of swordsman. I can confirm that already. Midoriya should just flick off a piece of desk towards Izumi, saying, I don't need your help. And she just turns away, apologizing, saying, I'm sorry. Midoriya says, Izuku says, don't you ever apologize to me. And Izuku hates his family. He's not really usually mean until it comes to Bakugo, Izumi, All Might, Inko. Those are the only people he'll be mean to. Those are the only people he'll be mean to. And Mina actually chimes in saying, why are you so mean to her? And Deku will say, I'm only mean to her because I'm related to her, and I don't like my family. Then they remember, Izumi is All Might's daughter. He says, wait, you're related to her? She'll say, he's my twin brother. And Midoriya will actually just say one more word, and I'll draw my sword. And she says, we used to be related. And Mina says, what do you mean used to be? Deku will say, they disrespected me, so I left. Mako will say, damn Deku. You were just quirkless, but you came back and became strong. And Midoriya actually just in a flash is already he's holding Yoru to Bakugo's throat, saying, I don't want you to speak ever again. And she's like, what Bakugo says, you didn't tell me what to do, Deku. Midoriya actually just draw a short blade and just point it towards Bakugo's vocal cords, saying just one stab wound to make sure you never speak again. Bakugo knows very well that Midoriya telling the truth and that Midoriya would do it. Bakugo will say, I'm sorry, Izuku. Midoriya put the sword away, saying, don't ever speak my name again. And so sit back down. So he walks in saying, alright, that's enough. And he'll set the quirk apprehension test. But he also saw the video of Midoriya throwing All Might, or of Deku throwing All Might, and then someone, the UA cameras recorded Deku punching All Might, so he doesn't need Deku to do the quirk apprehension test. He just needs him to do speed and jump and side to side jumps, and that's it. He can already tell his grip strength is out of this world. And Deku will do all of those, placing number 1. So, yeah. Overall, Deku would just place number 2. Number 1, actually. Bakugo says, damn it, before he catches himself, before he even says Deku, he's like, alright. Nabi and Izumi are surprised that he's actually listening. Like, did he actually scare him that much? And no one saw him hold a knife to Bakugo's neck. No one saw that. He just heard it. They just heard Deku say, "Don't say my name again." That's all they heard from him. They didn't see the knife. We're gonna go to heroes versus villains. Deku is wearing the same gear as Mihawk, just minus the hat and the cross. And everyone's like, does he need protection? Narration straight up, just Deku's gonna hold Yoru to his chest and just like try to stab himself. Like, what are you doing? Then I see Yoru isn't affecting Midoriya's body at all, or Deku's body. And he just puts it away, saying, "I don't need any form of protection." And Kishima says, "So you do have a quirk?" Deku says, "No, just durable. I'm just durable." Kishima says, "Really?" Deku says, "Every feat you see me accomplish that doesn't involve my sword is physical. It's physical training. That is it." And everyone is amazed. And I'll try to assign a team. He says, Izuku. He doesn't say Midoriya. He doesn't say it. He says Izuku and Ochako Uraraka versus Katsuki Bakugo and Tenya Ida. And Deku will say, "I don't want to be on anyone's team. Just place Ochako on Bakugo's team." And I will say, "Sir, this is very much necessary." And Deku will say, "Yeah, I don't want necessary. I just want to fight." And I will reluctantly agree, saying, "Ochako Uraraka, you're not on the villain team." And I will say, "Start." And Uraraka's with Bakugo and Ida. Once All Might says start, Deku just slices up the whole building, avoiding the bomb. They see the building start to crumble. But then Deku already has the bomb in hand on another building as the building there starts to crumble as it's already chopped it into pieces. And I'll tell you exactly what Deku did at lightning speed. Jumped through the window, grabbed the bomb, sliced the building to pieces, then jumped out. First, he jumped in through a window before anyone could even see how fast he was. Jumped out, sliced the building to pieces, then climbed another roof, and standing on there watching the building fall. And he puts the bomb next to him, because All Might doesn't see the bomb. He thinks, "Izuku, what about the bomb? Someone could have been hurt." And Bray will move, and they see the bomb. Like, hero team wins. And Bakugo team will look for the bomb in the rubble, saying, "Wait, what?" And Deku will actually just say, "I win," as he just jumps down and lands. And they'll try to give Midoriya any flaws. Then Midoriya says, "I cut the building to pieces after that." And he says, "I cut the building to pieces after I got the bomb out of the building." She said, "Well, you could have endangered them." Midoriya says, Deku will say, "No one complains when All Might endangers a villain's life. And right now, they were villains. So why do you care that I endangered them?" And All Might says, "But they're your class." Midoriya says, Deku says, "One's my arch enemy, two are complete strangers. Don't compare them as my classmates." And then All Might just shuts up. He's like, "I understand." And he goes back to the test. So Midoriya forcefully got the title of MVP. And Kirishima just keeps staring at Deku's Hawkeye. Like, what does that do? He sees it, doesn't even, Deku doesn't make that eye blink. Like, he makes sure it doesn't shut. He can keep that eye open for around a week without even blinking. And, next arc would be USJ. So, yeah. on the bus there, just like everyone tries to talk to Deku. Even like the only person that he's actually willing to talk to is Hanabi, and he doesn't know like that Izumi and Baku are dating, but he sees them kind of being touchy towards each other. And Izumi's not Izumi. Hanabi's the only person sitting next to Deku since everyone in Class 1A knows he wants to be left alone. So like Deku gets like one half of the bus to himself. And not Izumi. Hanabi will say, Izuku, what happened during those 7 years? You ran away and came back super strong. Deku will say, I recommend you get away before I stick Yoru in your side. And she knows he's serious. Like, he will do that. He has no without hesitation. She says, I just want to know one thing. Are you okay? Mentally? And Deku will say, I'll answer your question if you answer mine. What's going on with those two? And he'll slyly point towards those two without anyone noticing except Hanabi. She says, they're kind of a thing. Or he says, I see. Or Deku's like, I see. A little small blade and just throw a wind slash at them. It's not enough to cut the bus, but it's enough to just make a shockwave that'll actually just hurt. Just the impact will. It won't slice you. Once everyone sees it, like, wait, what are you doing? Then they see like the shockwave just slap Bakugo and Izumi apart. What the hell? And you see Midoriya with like the tiny blade. And he says, on school grounds, or you're under classmates, stop it. As he just puts a small blade away. And Kaminari and Amanda just like thank you, Izuku. And Deku doesn't give them like a glare, like I don't know you, I don't like you, shut up. And they just obey. He doesn't even need to speak, so they obey. She says, alright, now answer my question. Deku will say, mentally fine, it's just I don't want to be in a class with those two. She'll understand knowing that he doesn't like either of them. Like he hasn't since he was a kid. And I will say, I understand, but can I sit back here, please? I don't want to be around them right now. Deku says, all right, just sit like in the seat farther away from me. She'll do that. And honestly, we'll try to say like the stronger kids in the classroom. And that's when she'll forget about Midoriya or Deku since she barely talks to him or notices him. And Kirishima will blurt out saying, Midoriya tanks everyone in this classroom. Didn't you see the video that some guy put out? That's what he says, no. Then it shows Midoriya straight up pick up buff All Might and just kind of chuck him like he was nothing. Then someone leaked the footage at UA of Midoriya straight up punching All Might into a wall. And they're like, whoa. Midoriya's just like meditating right now. But his Hawkeye is open, but he's not using it right now. So it's like, you know, people say selective hearing. Deku's Hawkeye is like selective seeing. So yeah. And she's gonna say, well, I guess Izuku's the strongest in Class 1A. And Kirishima says, if Izuku can accomplish that feat, I wouldn't go as far to say he's the strongest in the world. I'd go as far to say he's the strongest in the world. And everyone hears this and agreeing that All Might did hold the title of the strongest man in the world, but Izuku threw him and slammed him into a wall easily. So people think that, you know, All Might just didn't want to fight a kid, so they're actually going to place him like the top 5, as like a guess. Even though he could slice All Might to bits in 1 second. Alright, they're at the USJ, and Deku will walk out of the bus first. Like, everyone's in shock when he's out the door first. And, Deku's just holding a sword. He's trying to just, kind of swinging Yoru around. To, train and freshen up. And, then he'll sense the portal, and Deku can see 10 seconds into the future because of his observation being maxed out. And he'll just aim his sword at the portal, saying, what's about to happen, leave it to me. And the portal just opens. And as Awa says, those are real I can't leave that to you, you're my student. And then in a flash, Deku's already in, behind all the villains, and they all just have, giant slash marks on their chest. Deep enough to knock them out, but not deep enough to kill them. And, Nomu didn't get touched, but Shigaraki did. And Kurogiri didn't get touched either. He avoided it. Deku says, "What's your meaning? Or what's your meaning behind being here?" As he holds his sword to like Shiraki's throat. Shiraki's like, "No, kill this kid." And before anyone can even say a word, before Nomu can even move an inch, Deku already sliced Nomu to pieces using Haki, so Nomu cannot regenerate at all. And Shiraki's like, "No, get out." Well, or Nomu, move again. So it's like the normal swordsman thing, where until like Deku puts his sword away, Nomu just splatters everywhere. No blood, just his pieces go everywhere. Sharky's seeing Nomu not regenerating. He's like, "Nomu, come on, regenerate, come on. I need you for this one." It hasn't even been 5 minutes yet. Deku took down every villain in the vicinity. And Kurogiri will come back saying, "Shigaraki, we have to go." And so he'll teleport them both out of there before Deku can even touch them. And he does have to rush out. But Nomu's already done for. Deku's already in front of Aizawa again and says, "I told you to leave it to me." Deku would just walk out of the USJ and get back to his seat on the bus. Police will arrive trying to question Midoriya. So we're trying to question. I'm saying Midoriya still have the last name Midoriya. It's just he likes to go by Mihawk. So his last name is legally Midoriya. It's just he likes to say it's Mihawk. So I can say Midoriya. Right. I'm just gonna call him Mihawk since Deku's basically a new Mihawk. So Mihawk is kind of in the back of the bus. So I'm gonna call him Midoriya. So Midoriya's in the back of the bus. Just the police are trying to question him, saying, "Young man, what did you see? What happened? Your classmates report that you stopped everything." That's the only question he answers, saying, "I did stop everything. It's just I wasn't fast enough to stop the villains. Just stop the last two ringleaders from leaving. That's it." Policeman says, "Finally, you speak." And he'll just leave with that one note. And Uchi's there, he's like, "What'd you get at the kid?" He sees one note. Then he'll try to like interrogate Deku, saying, "Alright, kid, if you don't like talk to me, I'll give you jail time." Deku will say, "Hey, it's not legally possible or legally fair." And Taguchi says, "Right now you're not giving police enough orders, or not obeying police. I can arrest you." Deku will point to the guy outside, saying, I gave him what he asked, so I did obey." And Taguchi says, "Damn it, I still just leave the bus." And All Might's there because he heard his son kind of stopped a villain. He'll go to congratulate Izuku, but Izuku would he walks on the bus. Izuku just throws a tiny blade at All Might, and All Might just jumps out of the bus saying, "All right, I won't talk to you again. I'm sorry." All Might is scared of Deku. And Izumi saw All Might just jump out of the bus in fear. Then she sees the tiny knife in the window. She says, "Alright, I've had enough of this." She walks onto the bus and Midori just holding Yoru to her throat. And he says, "You, Bakugo, and All Might have to walk back off the bus." And no one's gonna disagree with him. They're he's carried All Might off the bus, and I can't really fight someone on All Might scale yet. Bakugo, All Might, let's go home. And everyone in 1A is like, "So Bakugo's not gonna be loudmouth. Let's go." And Asui says, "Izuku, why'd you not let Izumi and Bakugo on the bus, and even All Might?" And Izuku will say, "If you recall me saying, or if you recall Izumi saying, I'm her twin brother, or that's what she likes to call me, since we share the same mom and the same dad. But they were horrible to me as a child, so I don't call her my family anymore, and nothing can make up for what they did to me. Hanabi was the only one nice to me as a kid, so that's why I allowed her to stay on the bus." And Hanabi says, "I'd have gone on either way." And Midoriya will say, "If you'd even tried, I would slice you in half. Shut up." And she'll obey. She's like, okay. So, yeah. Also, he says, "All Might being horrible to someone. Never could imagine that." Izuku says, "All he did was pity and disrespect me." He even offered to train my sister, but not me, because I didn't have a quirk. He could have at least trained me to have a physical body. That's it. But he trained her to strengthen her quirk, since All Might's fire matched Izumi's. So, yeah. They hear the whole thing what All Might did to him, just not to give Izumi one for all. He already knows that that's going to be a secret, and he doesn't tell them about Small Might. He doesn't tell them about that. He doesn't tell them about Small Might and one for all. He doesn't tell them about that. Like, he has at least some common courtesy. But he tells them the things, and they all look at All Might in a different light now. Like, All Might's kind of a dick. Yeah, kind of a dick. So once they get back to UA, All Might's there saying, "Oh, Class 1A, it's nice to see you again." And at one point, like, even one kid was like, "This dick." And he's like, "Oh God, did Izuku tell them about his childhood?" And he'll ask Izuku if he actually did. And Izumi and Baku will ask if he did as well, since they know about Izuku's childhood and they know the damage All Might's reputation. And to their horror, Midoriya told them everything except One for All and Small Might. They're kind of thanking him for that, but they're mad that he did. And All Might said, "What stays in our house stays in our house. You shouldn't have brought that information out." And the Flash Midoriya already has one of All Might's fingers in a hole and just actually almost snaps it off All Might's hand cleanly. But almost. He's just actually bending it back super far before All Might can even get it, like, his grip off. All Might was like, "I surrender." So he just lets go. So yeah, school's over and Izumi and Bakugo have a date night. And Midoriya's kind of bored. Midoriya's kind of bored because he doesn't really have any friends. Hanabi's the closest thing he has to a friend. So he'll actually sneak into Mitsuki's house. Because once he knocks, she lets him in. Masaru will greet him saying, "Oh, Midoriya, I haven't seen you in a while. People said he ran away." Midoriya says, "I didn't. I came back." So yeah, he goes up to see Hanabi and is kind of just chilling in her room. And he's playing video games with her and is beating her in everything. Like, his observation is actually predicting what she's going to do on the TV. So he's actually winning easily. And Hanabi says, "Izuku." And Midoriya will pause saying, "Hanabi, you're the only person I'll allow to call me Midoriya." And she'll say, "Thank you. Midoriya. Why don't you cut your hair? I liked it the way it was before." Midoriya actually reveals his other eye, and it's kind of just cut. Kind of like Zoro. She says, "What happened?" And Midoriya will say, "Hey, this eye is the only one I could not transform into my... This Deku's right eye, his left eye is like a hawk. So it's kind of like the reverse of Zoro." And Deku will say, "My master had a student similar to me. Green hair and everything. Another thing was also because I can transform it into a hawk, and it was just slowing me down. Or I can transform it into the Hawkeye. But it was also similar to my master, but I couldn't bear to cut off my Hawkeye, so I cut off this one. Or I cut this one. And it'll kind of like, I can just open it as much as you can, showing that there's still an eye in there. It's just all white with a slash mark in it, showing that Midoriya cannot see out of it. So it's like, it's good you didn't take it out of your eye. Midoriya says, "I cannot bring myself to do that. I still feel pain." Bakugo will come in because he heard Midoriya's, like, he's gonna rush into to Hanabi's room because he heard Midoriya's voice, and he just sees, like, he sees Midoriya and Hanabi just playing video games, and Midoriya beating her brutally in the game. It's like, someone's actually beating Hanabi. Yeah, he's like, someone's actually beating Hanabi in video games. He said, "Wait, Deku, what are you doing in my house?" And everyone just hears a loud thud as Midoriya actually punched Bakugo into his room. And Hanabi says he deserves that. And she shuts the door. I almost knocked out Bakugo, but Mitsuki came to the room to see what the ruckus was. Then she sees Bakugo on the ground, just holding his stomach. He says, "Did you punch him?" Midoriya will say, "Yes, hard." And she picks up Baku, and he can barely stand. He says, Deku, I don't know what your power is, but... And then he sees Midoriya actually has the Yoru with him. It's just he snuck it into the house. Like, basically, Sim Midoriya had put Yoru outside, like near Hanabi's window. Knocked, came inside, jumped out Hanabi's window, jumped back in with Yoru in hand. Like he doesn't leave Yoru at his house. He takes it with him. And he sees Midoriya reaching for Yoru and just says, Izuku, I apologize for yelling at you. And Inko's like, not Inko, Mitsuki's like, little old Midoriya beat you into submission, Katsuki. Impressive. And she'll push Baku to the ground and shut his door, saying, go to sleep. And say, thank you, Izuku. And shuts the door. That night, instead of sleeping in the woods, Deku sleeps in the Bakugo household, but he doesn't sleep in like Hanabi's. I'm gonna say he sleeps in Hanabi's bed. It's just she sleeps under the blankets. Midoriya sleeps over it, next to her, just back to back. And Midoriya had to actually borrow. Midoriya can't fit any clothes that most people have, so he actually just had to lay in his underwear next to Hanabi. Well, Hanabi will wake up around 10 minutes before school starts, and she doesn't live too far away, so she can make it in 10 minutes, but she sees Deku's already gone, and he looks on her TV with a bowl of cereal. And she can tell he left rather recently. And there's a sticky note that said, thank you for letting me stay the night. See you at school. She ate the food, rushed off. And she sees that Baku and Izumi are running as well. She says, oh, you guys are late too? And Javi was kind of like, she was only late because she was basking in the moment that, she slept in her room with a boy, and that she slept in the same room as with a boy that wasn't her brother, and he was actually caring for her, so it kind of made her blush, and she was kind of just fangirling out over it. And so they get to school, they see that Deku just has his feet on the table, and Ida's not even gonna try to interfere. He's like, I can't treat him the same way I treat Bakugo. He's gonna cut me in half with no hesitation. Alright, they're in class, and they announce the sports festival. They try to give Deku as the representative, but he's going to say Bakugo should do it since he's the most outrageous. And Bakugo will gladly do it. And we're going to cut to the Bakugo giving a speech. He has a lot of hate, and he's going to kind of snicker. This is the first time someone's ever heard him show an emotion other than anger or being neutral. Bakugo's not even going to yell what's funny Deku. He's just going to kind of grumble. Right, the race. Midori doesn't need a sword for this. So, yeah. Actually, Midori doesn't bring a sword to the sports festival. He doesn't think anyone's strong enough for it. The race, Midori easily blitzes everyone and wins. Like he'll just jump straight through the 0-pointer and run the rest of the race. Cavalry battle. He only has 2 teammates. Hanabi and Tokoyami. He has Hanabi, Tokoyami, and Tokoyami, Shoji, Hanabi, and Asui. Those are his teammates. And Midori is too tall for Shoji to cover up with his wings or his arms. So Midori is a one horse. As he carries everyone else on his back. He's hold Shoji above his head. And then Shoji will cover Tokoyami and Asui and Hanabi. And I'm gonna go over Hanabi's quirk. Her quirk is called Impact Bomb. So she actually has to touch something for her hand to actually ignite an explosion. But what gives it an edge over Bakugo's is it doesn't need sweat. It just needs something to touch. And it can be launched from any part of her body, even her eyelashes. I'm kidding. No, I just have skin on it. Actually no. Her eyelashes can't do it. It's more like hair. Like her hair can't do it, but her tongue, her lips, anything. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Like her hair, her tongue, well, her hair and her eyelashes can't, just hair in general can't launch explosions. Just her body parts. Yeah. So because Tokoyami's in darkness, and anyone that gets close to the 10 million points gets their hand bombed, they keep the 10 million points easily. People will try to knock Midoriya off balance, but his Haki will make sure he doesn't fall down and no attacks phase him. So yeah. Also, this is gonna be one part. Like that, this is it for the series. Like just one part. I don't really feel like going into too much in this one. It's just I was bored, didn't have anything else to do, so I'm doing this. Okay. Battles. First fight is Shinso versus Deku. Ojo will warn Deku of Shinso's quirk. That probably has something to do with answering a question. And Shinso's gonna say, "Oh, you're lucky to be born with a quirk. How does it feel, huh?" But before Shinso can finish the question, Deku says, "I don't have a quirk. I'm quirkless. Son of All Might, born without a quirk. Pretty embarrassing, huh?" And just like, "Son of All Might?" And Deku will say, I'm the younger brother, or the two-second younger brother of Izumi Yaki. Because Izumi took after All Might's last name, because, like, All Might wanted the strong one to take his last name, not the weak one. So Deku and Inko share one name, and All Might and Izumi share one name. And Shinso says, "If you guys are siblings, why don't you have the same name?" And Deku's Hawkeye can pick up like sound waves coming around Shinso. Well, actually, you can use this Hawkeye to the point where you can actually see like small particles of sound. And some of them are different colors. And Deku can see if he answers a question, they're gonna go towards him. And you can see the sound particles aren't behind him, or there's not as many. So he's gonna go behind Shinso, kind of like back to back, and say, well, he's gonna say that his quirk, like, kind of embarrassing. This I'm a quirk, and that Shinso's the lucky one, as he'll just elbow Shinso in the head before the quirk can reach him. So he knocked out Shinso, and the quirk dispersed. So yeah, Midoriya's next fight is Todoroki versus Midoriya, and Hanabi's just been cheering on Midoriya the whole time, like, "Go Deku!" Like everyone Midoriya teamed with during like the cavalry battle is cheering for him. So yeah, and Todoroki fight, Midoriya knows he can't just mess around with Todoroki, so he's just unleash his conqueror spirit. That's when the full aura is gonna come out. It's gonna embrace the arena as like the demon will come around Midoriya as it just rushes at Todoroki. And the aura will actually knock out Todoroki before Todoroki can even launch an ice attack. So Midoriya knocked out Todoroki with a glare. No one saw the demon. They saw like a glimpse of the aura. They saw it burst and last for like a second, then it just went away as Todoroki falls to the ground. Because when you're hit by Deku's Conqueror's Haki and he aims for you, you're the only one that can see how long it truly lasts. Like it can be 2 seconds, but it feels like 2 hours to you. And you see the demon emerge and kind of just like completely destroy you. Todoroki will pass out as Endeavor says, "What the hell was that? What'd you do?" As he'll jump down and stare at Midoriya. He doesn't realize how tall Midoriya is compared to him, as Midoriya is just standing over Endeavor. And Endeavor just can feel the intimidating presence. As I will even say into the mic, "Endeavor, this kid's far above your league. I recommend you step away." And Endeavor will actually just take this chains and leave. Todoroki will wake up like before Midoriya's last fight, and Recovery Girl will say, "Oh, you're up." He says, "Why am I in here? What happened?" He thinks like the demon thing was like a dream. He says, "Oh, Midoriya knocked out with a glare." He said, "Wait, he what?" With a glare. Endeavor's gonna be in the room saying, "She's not lying," with a glare. And Todoroki's gonna be like, "Damn it." As he'll just be angry. Midoriya's fight. Bakugo, I'm gonna say it's a free-for-all between Hanabi, Bakugo, and Izumi, and Deku. But this time, like, Bakugo will say, "Hanabi, Izumi, we need to form a team." And Habiwa yelled, Midoriya, they're trying to team up on you. And she'll just jump towards Midoriya and stand next to him. And Midoriya's going to pat her on the head and say, thank you for telling me. And she'll actually just walk out of bounds willingly. Like, no mind control or anything. He says, Nabi, you sold us out. Damn it. Then he sees that she walked out of bounds, saying, what? Midoriya says, I have very few friends in Class 1A, but she's one of them. And friends do what friends should do. Like, friends do what friends should do for each other. And when Midnight says start, Baku will try to launch an explosion, and Izumi will try to breathe like a fireball. Midoriya straight up just punch through the fireball as she just decks Izumi in the face, knocking her out cold. Like, it breaks her jaw and kind of just breaks her nose as well. Bakugo gets mad and launches a howitzer impact. And then, to his shock, Midoriya's hand is around his. Midoriya just crushes Bakugo's hand and just kind of does the Hulk thing where he just slams them side to side. Then throws him out of bounds. And Midnight says, with a shocking new record of 48 seconds, Izuku Midoriya wins. And yes, that was 48 seconds. So, yeah. Pretty sure Hero Killer's the next arc, but we need to go over hero names and internships. So yeah. Midoriya's hero name, he called himself Dracule, and that's it, just Dracule. And his reasoning was because the person that trained him in swordsmanship was named Dracule Mihawk. And that's the person who he calls his father. Kasune knows how much of a scumbag. Sorry about that noise. It's just my knee hit my desk. Everyone knows how much of a scumbag All Might was as a father. They think he's a great hero. It's just he's a bad father. And I can see why he counts him as his father. So yeah. Izumi hears that he doesn't count All Might as his father. He counts Mihawk. And she's kind of upset at this. She doesn't say anything. Well, she won't say anything yet. His internship. He has a lot of them. And Stain was actually watching sports festivals, and he can tell Midoriya has the body of a swordsman and the way he actually uses his hands. Because without anyone noticing, Midoriya's reaching to almost put his hand under his other arm when he hit Izumi in the face. It's funny, he was imagining slicing Izumi in half. And Stain could tell it's a swordsman reflex. He wanted to use a sword on someone. So Stain's kind of more hesitant to slice up someone right now. He thinks that Deku will come after him, because a swordsman reflex is very uncommon among amateurs. So you can tell that's another story of the Swordsman Master. Stain doesn't slice up anyone recently, so Tensei's okay right now. Who should he intern with? Also, one thing. Gran Torino actually disowned All Might as a student, because, let's say that's the way, Gran Torino tried to train Izumi for a little bit. Then she told him about, Deku, and that quirkless idiot ran away. He won't last long. He's just so stupid and weak. And Izumi actually kind of ratted out All Might by accident by saying, yeah, my dad even agrees with me. So, then on, Gran Torino disowned All Might, much to his dismay. One of Midoriya's recommendations is Gran Torino. Midoriya will take this knowing who Gran Torino is, so he's doing it to smite All Might. Or to spite him. I forgot if it's smite or spite. So, I'm going to say it's spite right now. So he's going to go to Gran Torino to spite All Might and Izumi. And she's upset at this. So yeah, Deku gets to Gran Torino's apartment. Gran Torino has to see its hero costume. Midoriya says, it doesn't really grant me anything. It's just fireproof and the coat's bulletproof. Gran Torino says, And he tries to launch a kick at Midoriya. Midoriya dodges easily as he just grabs Gran Torino's head and starts squeezing, saying it's very dishonorable to try to sneak in a cheap shot. And Gran Torino says, I can tell you have a high sense of honor. He tries to use the other foot, but once it hits Deku, it doesn't even faze him. Midoriya drops Gran Torino and puts a bag on the couch and gets ready to put, like, Midoriya made himself at home. And it actually got along with Gran Torino. And let's say that Hanabi came over at one point and kind of stayed the night at Gran Torino's place. So Hanabi and Midoriya kind of see Gran Torino like a grandpa. And they're on the train to Hosu. They see the Nomu jump through, and Midoriya with no hesitation slices the brain off the Nomu. So Gran Torino heard about Midoriya's skill, so he lets Midoriya handle it. Midoriya will help the hero in, and the hero will explain what's going on. And he knows Midoriya's skill, like it's pretty well known about what Midoriya does. The video of him like during the UA entrance exams went viral, since I'm gonna say UA posted it to like for swordsman inspiration. A lot of people saw what Midoriya can do, so he's a pretty well known swordsman. Midoriya picked up Yoru and jumped out the train with Hanabi and Gran Torino following suit. So Gran Torino is pretty strong in this one, to the point where I'm gonna say, like, if you were to have at least one for all full cowling, he'd probably use at least 80% of it right off the bat because of his jets. So yeah. So his jets are a lot stronger. Midoriya actually just put Izumi on like search and rescue. Gran Torino is for the fight. Gran Torino's for fire. Hanabi can fight. But Midoriya's going to go for search and rescue since he knows Hanabi likes fighting more than him. So Midoriya's going to go for search and rescue. Sees one hero stuck in a building. Some say they know punched him, then the ceiling claps on his legs. All Might will get that man free. Then Flying Nomu's left to get away, but then Deku will slice the air. The air will slice the Nomu in half. So yeah. Deku's running around. Then he sees Ida about to be stabbed by Stain from behind. Because, like, Ida's kind of dazed as Stain just sliced his side, shocking him. Midoriya actually just saves Ida as, like, Stain's sword, which, like, hit the flat side of Midoriya's blade. It just shatters into pieces. And Stain says, I should have known. And Stain will try to pull out 2 more swords. And Midoriya takes those swords and actually just says, as he puts Yoru in his mouth and uses 2 different swords, saying, Ida, get out of here. And Stain says, he's a master of the 3-sword style. And Midoriya will jump back, like he's gonna his feet are kind of gonna make an imprint on the wall as Midoriya's hanging there. And he says, 3-sword style, Purgatory Onigiri. Everyone sees like a burst of like giant red aura. I say like a giant red burst of aura. They just notice it's like flames. Then before they can even count, they see before they can even just process that, they see like a giant explosion. They go to see where it was. And they see stains on the ground with like just 3 deep cuts on his body, and Midoriya with his shirt is like has like part of it's missing. Well, his jacket has like half of it missing. And they see Midoriya's eyes open, and it's just turned into a Hawkeye. But this one's purple. So Midoriya has purple and red eyes now. So let me do something real quick. So Midoriya purple and red eyes. Nabi and like Juno come and say, "Wow, you took care of business. I see." Police will come because they heard the explosion. They see it as just Midoriya. They thought like Midoriya destroyed a few buildings. Most of the damage done Midoriya's feet and like some slight cracks, not enough to like damage the foundation of the building. So the explosion actually just on the amount of dust that came up, and they gave Midoriya the credit for stopping Hero Killer. Like Gran Torino requested Midoriya get the credit for doing it. Alright, I'm pretty sure the next arc is going to be heroes, students versus teachers. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the next arc. But we're going to go to some days on UA campus. Well, first, Izumi will tell All Might that about how he went to Gran Torino, and that Izu doesn't think of All Might as a parent, not even Inko. And Inko didn't treat him bad, but she didn't treat him good. Like, she never stood up for him. She didn't want to. So Deku didn't see her as a good mother. And All and Inkto are kind of heartbroken to hear this, but they can kind of understand why, and they know they can't make amends for what they did. When All hears he went to Gran Torino, and Izumi even asked Midoriya why he's going to Gran Torino. So when Midoriya gets home, All asked why. Well, Midoriya only came to their house to get food from them. That's it. When All asked why, to his whole family's shock, even Bakugo's, he says, "Despite you." And Nabi walks in saying, "Oh my god, you're hilarious." Bakugo's like, "Wait, why are you with him?" And then Gran Torino walks in on, like, well, he doesn't walk in, he's on Midoriya's back. And All's like, why are you in my house? Anyway, Midoriya walks to the fridge and takes almost everything out of it, leaving a few things, like, enough for, like, dinner for one night. Almost like, you can just walk in and take anything you want. Deku says, "But what I can do is walk to the press and tell them how much of a crappy father you've been and what you did to me. Or how you treated me. And I can tell, a large majority of your fan base are quirkless people. Well, you're gonna lose around a good few million people. Also, hold up, I'll Google something real quick. Right, I can imagine that it's like a worldwide renowned hero, and a lot of his fan base would be quirkless. So, yeah, I'd say that, like Deku would say, so he'd lose all of your quirkless fans, which would probably be around 1.4 billion people. And I was like, oh god, I cannot lose that many people. I don't know, he realizes if he loses that many fans, he's gonna drop. Probably gonna drop from the top 10 heroes. You're probably gonna drop from that. Like, no, he can't do that. So, yeah. So, yeah. And, Gran Torino... Actually, no, I'm saying Midoriya moves out of the woods, and actually, Hanabi moves out of her house. So Midoriya and Hanabi now live at Gran Torino, since he has a pretty big house. They cleaned it up a little bit, but yeah. Midoriya can sleep in one of the rooms, Hanabi can sleep in the other. Gran Torino gets his own room. Perfect. Yeah. Alright, heroes versus students versus teachers. Midoriya is not put on a team. It's just him versus All Might. And Midoriya, like, the moment he gets to fight All Might, everyone just sees a creepy grin go across his face. And once All Might and him are not face, but it's more like they're like 20 feet apart. Midoriya actually just draws Yoru and just slices towards All Might. And before All Might can even think, Midoriya's behind him and there's a slash mark on his chest that makes him pass out. He's about to puff. Before All Might can even debuff, Midoriya just hides him. And they think that Midoriya can just punch him away from the cameras. Really, Midoriya just dashed fast as he could to recover Girl. She healed All Might, but now he has a Zoro-type scar on his chest. His time limit wasn't decreased due to his body not being able to process what just happened to him. Before they know it, they have a cut. Before All Might's body even knows they have a cut, then they're at Recovery Girl's office, and then it's healed. So its time limit is not affected at all, because the body couldn't react. So, yeah. Alright, next arc would be for his training, but Midoriya doesn't really need to be trained. Midoriya's body is peak physical. Midoriya doesn't have a limit, but if he did, it's broken. So, when the class is abandoned on a bus, Midoriya gets to stay on the bus, because he doesn't need to train. The camp, Midoriya doesn't introduce himself to Kota, so, yeah. And when everyone hears it's a training camp, alright, then. They're about to walk away to their own room, but then, wait, Midoriya, you coming? That's how it says, Midoriya doesn't really have to come. You saw how strong he is. He doesn't really need anything. So, Izuku, you get your own room in the main cabin with the big rooms. There's no laugh and snort and say, "What? Let me see how big the room is." He's gonna walk in and say, "Yeah, enough to fit quite a few people." He's gonna walk to the basement, saying, "This is more like it." As we'll clear out just a lot of room. He says, "Nabi, Ida, Ochako, Asui, Shoji, and Tokoyami. Come on." They go to the basement and sleep there instead. So they get actually some heat. We're gonna fast forward 2 days, and Midoriya is allowed to participate in the cookout. And Class 1B also knows Midoriya doesn't need to train. And no one in the class, like, one of them doesn't even mock Midoriya. That's how much Midoriya intimidates him. So, yeah. The smoke will start to appear, and flames will start to appear. Midoriya's going to track down the source as fast as possible. And Midoriya will use Haki, find Dabi, and Dabi can even process. There's already a slash wound in his back. Twice will try to do something, but Midoriya stabs him and oops, bad. Twice gets stabbed to the leg by Midoriya. Toga will jump at him. Midoriya's just gonna deck her. And the League of Villains doesn't even have time to get to their respective spots. Like, well, Muscular's already at his spot. Moonfish just got taken out. Like Midoriya dropped every member of the League of Villains, except Muscular that fast. The flames already got put out because Midoriya stopped them. And Midoriya just uses his purple eye. Once he has red eye, he can actually track heat signatures mainly, while his purple eye is meant for like power and to see outlines. So one eye is for bodies, one eye is for mainly like power and what you can see for their quirk. Or just like outlines of a building or a person. Sound waves basically. Or physical beings, like outlines, sound waves, or like where your quirk will emit from your body. So Midoriya can sense Muscular's power, and he has to slash out on Koda with his hand. And Midoriya, without even thinking, he's gonna pull a Uvogin and kind of just slap like Muscular as hard as he can over the head, as he just snaps slaps Muscular's neck. So. Let me give a good example of what Midoriya does first. A good example of what Midoriya does would probably be this. That's the best example I can give of what Midoriya did to Muscular in that one scene just now. So Midoriya just snapped Muscular's neck without even thinking about it. So, yeah. Midoriya killed Muscular by accident. I might get copyrighted, I might not. So yeah. I thought we'll show up to see what Midoriya did. Then he sees League of Villains kind of like on the ground, but then Kurogiri will appear. Because I'm gonna say that Nomu actually let out a scream before Kurogiri could get fully away. He sees the League of Villains full of slash marks and Muscular dead, so he'll teleport all the bodies out of there. Well, he won't teleport Muscular's body since Muscular's dead. He'll find Midoriya standing over a crying Koda and a dead Muscular. And Aizawa can just tell Midoriya protected Koda. Like Midoriya's trying to comfort Koda, and Hanabi will do the same thing. They're trying to comfort him. But no one ever knew Midoriya would actually just be able to kill someone just like that. He's gonna get just told off that he might get arrested for killing Muscular. That's when Koda says, "If you arrest Midoriya, well, I'll become a villain." And it shocks Mandalay. She's like, "What? Why?" He's no point. She says, "Look closer." And she sees it's the person that killed Koda's parents. She says, I see. I think we should try to protect Midoriya on this one. And she'll make up a whole story. Midoriya was talking to Koda, and Muscular appeared and tried to fight him. Midoriya used so much power without realizing it and killed him. So yeah. But in reality, Midoriya didn't accidentally kill Muscular. He purposely did it. He ran up and just decked him square in the head, knocking his skull or his neck to a different angle, killing him. So yeah. Midoriya is given a warning for killing someone, but he is rewarded. It's just he's kind of upset that the League of Villains got away, except just one guy. But they're going to be out of commission for a long, long, long time. You need for the next arc. Okay. Next arc would be Hideout Raid. Midoriya, Hanabi, Izumi, and Bakugo actually put on an attack force to track down the League of Villains. And they do it relatively easy since Midoriya finds a Nomu factory. But he specifically tells All Might and Gran Torino the power he finds in there. And All Might can hear Midoriya, like when he hears the description of how it feels, he says, Izumi, Midoriya, do you remember the stories I told you about a man that I fought named All For One? What Midoriya described, that's what he sounds like. And Midoriya says, all I can tell right now, I'm the only person in the city, besides you, probably, All Might. Your power, you can already tell, it's not stronger, but it's not weaker. Probably about equals. I can tell my power so far surpasses anyone that could probably enter Japan. And All Might says, if you call me an All For One equals, I already know you're stronger than me. So, I'll grant you this one pass. Make sure All For One dies tonight. Midoriya smiles and says, alright, Dad, I'll do it for you. Then he finds the bar and sends everyone else there. Hanabi refuses to leave as Tokoyami, Shoji, Ochako, and Ida show up. And so does Tensei. And everyone's like, wait, what are you doing? You kids can't be here. Then Tensei says, nope, they're under my supervision. They're allowed to be here. Shut up, they can be here. So, yeah. All of Midoriya's friends arrive, plus Tensei. And he says, alright, well then, let's go. I forgot to mention Asui's name. Yeah, she came too. So did Shoji, Tokoyami, Ida, and Ochako. And Hanabi. And Tensei says, I heard about that slash thing you do. Why don't you do that around the building? Midoriya says, this place is already under evacuation order, so we can destroy as much as we want, as long as we don't go overboard. Midoriya just tells them, when I say jump, jump. Midoriya gets ready to slash the air, and he says, jump. Everyone does, and he just spins in a circle with Yoru. It's like just tons of buildings. You have like the tops fly up. As they see the whole warehouse just got lifted off the ground. And they're like, Tensei says, I can see why he's strong. Why he's considered stronger than All Might. And All For One is shocked as he was just sitting in his chair. He'll tell the Nomus to charge. As I'm gonna say that Tensei had all the sidekicks arrive with Manual as well, and they're taking down all the Nomus since there's no high-end Nomus with them. Then All For One summons a portal. He tries to get the League of Villains in there, but then he accidentally pulls through some of the heroes as well, so more of his Nomus are going down. After about 5 minutes, all of his Nomus are down, and All For One says, I must do this. As he'll summon more portals, and one giant one appears. After Gentomachia just drops out of, Dr. Ujiko will appear out of one, as 4 test tubes will. Then he sees Midoriya there. He says, I want you to make the high-end Nomu activate, and take that boy's body so I can make him a high-end. Dr. Ujiko suggests they take his quirk, but All For One says, this boy looks familiar, like one of the papers you gave me. He's really physically strong only. He just doesn't have a quirk. And that's when Ujiko will look closer, saying, oh yes, that boy does look familiar. He's All Might's quirkless son. And then, when, Deku is reading their lips. By the time Ujiko says All Might's quirkless son, Midoriya's already in front of Ujiko. He activated the Nomus before he died, but Midoriya cut off Ujiko's head. I'm gonna say he slashed Ujiko to the point where he passed out. So the Nomus are released. But I'm gonna say that some of the blood splatter actually awakened them. They charge at Midoriya. And yeah. Around 92 sidekick, no, actually over 100 jump at them. And it doesn't go too well. Only 4 out of 10 Nomus high ends are defeated. Then Midoriya's friends will try to take some down. Only 2 are taken down this time. So there's around 4 Nomus, high-end Nomus left, plus all